Ladies and gentlemen, my teeth have been checked, and there is no basal leaves remnants in them. Today is November 13th, 2013, and this is the KNKL show number 122, where we learn to be better artists. I'm your host, Keenan Lafferty, and today we're going to be jumping into an awesome piece of a character created by Richie Castle. Now, Richie is the genius man behind the redesigned Emma site. For those of you who haven't gone and checked out the comic yet or seen the new site, just check out the little link down below. That's why it's there. Emma Comic Online. You can see some of Richie's handiwork. So as a thank you, what I'm going to be doing today is he's got this really awesome character called Zombie King. And, you know, we're all about zombies here. I love zombies. You love zombies. So we're going to be drawing the Zombie King today. And he has, I hope you don't mind me showing these, Richie, by the way. He has so graciously supplied me with references and all this stuff, and he basically wanted to see how I would see my take on a simple type of character, right? So here's the peasants you got going right here, and let's go ahead and cycle through these. There's Zombie King. These are our references. He chucks the peasants. This is a game that Richie is developing, by the way, and I don't want to give away too much, but yeah, he basically has these peasants and he chucks them at things. I don't know, it was like Angry Birds or something. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, he's basically not a very nice king. But his peasants, nevertheless, are still very loyal to him. And we're going to be drawing him today in our style. And coupled with that, it is going to be, because it's such a simple character, I really like to take like simplistic designs and I like to bring them into, like give them a third dimension, right? And so this is going to tie us into, again, the perspective grid. And I talked about this I think it was a couple months ago, talking about drawing in perspective and how you can create a grid. So that's the first thing I'm going to explain to you guys. And we are going to go into time-lapse because I'm going to show you how I got to the sketch that you just saw. So the first thing I did here, look at this. See, I drew this grid by hand. And again, I'll reinforce this statement as I go forward. But like basically I set it up like this. And then I just resize it to whatever I want it to be. And then the perspective will almost basically take care of itself. All you have to do is you just have to make sure that these angles, see that, this line, when those two lines meet, those must be at a right angle. And then, so you almost create like a square divided in half, and then you just draw lines to it. I never thought about it that way, but that would actually work really well. And if I was really smart, I would probably just draw one of these and then keep it around, but I don't draw with a lot of perspective grids like this very often, so yeah, I definitely need to create one of those. But see, it's so easy, like once you lay in the perspective grid to figure out, you know, it's like this shoulder is right here, and then you just follow this line, or you follow this line, and be like, okay, well, the other shoulder should be over here. And immediately you can see a little bit of problems that are happening, because this shoulder ends here, and then this other shoulder is like up here. And see how it connects with that line? That means that this other shoulder should be, by proper perspective, right here. But you'll see me work with that a little bit more as we go forward. And here's another interesting thing. I had him kind of, the horizon line and the ground plane is right here. And I have the camera or the, I don't know, center of vision focused in such a way that his feet are down here. And I really wanted Zombie King to appear very powerful. So what I ended up doing was I sized up, I just took that grid that was behind him, I made it bigger, and now you can see the horizon line is right where his feet would be. And now what this is going to do, now I can place his feet on that horizon line so they're flat. Now it's going to make us look like we're looking up at Zombie King. So that makes us so happy. It makes us so happy. And again, I'll show you guys really quickly how to set up a grid really for your use with your drawings. Very quickly for the use of your drawings. And so then I'm just kind of drawing in some details, trying to figure out, again, like one of the things that I really like to do is talking about flow. I always talk about flow and how things flow into each other. So look at how he's like got his chest like puffed out, right? This makes him look like he's really kind of full of himself, kind of selfish, gaudy, and he's got his chest puffed out. And then look at the line that runs right through here. It's like whoop right into that back foot. And this is a little bit exaggerated, or maybe it's not actually. I don't know, but it looks really cool, just like the line from the chest down to the foot. It's going whoop like that little S curve. So you want to make sure you get some of that. Look for the flowing lines. Look for the flowing lines, and ask yourself, what is the personality of this character? What is, what's their motivation? Who are they? Who are they from day-to-day life? Okay, another thing you saw me do earlier, the shoulder was not placed properly. See how I moved this shoulder up? And then following that line right down, the other shoulder should be in this area. So we wouldn't even see it. It's actually being covered by these two, the folded arms over here. So, and that reminds me, I gotta fix this little thing so it looks a little bit more like, I don't know, I'm trying to figure out exactly how to draw this sleeve. Because he's kind of got like a Santa coat thing going on. And I'm trying to make it look a little bit more kingly. So, curious as to how I can go about doing that. And then I drew the little peasant really quickly too. They're so cute. I love little peasants. Trying to figure out how to simplify their clothing. And he's just kind of looking up at him. Okay, guys. So that is where we are right now. Let's go ahead and continue with this. So the first thing I want to do is I want to show you guys exactly how I set up that grid in the background and how you can make one for yourself. Okay, so basically the way that this works is when you start a new document, and there's two ways to do this, but I like to do it the messy way just because I don't really care too much to like make perfect perspective all the time. But if you must, first thing you're going to want to do is, and I like doing it this way because it's super easy to remember, okay? So I usually just kind of grab a blue thing here, and then actually a really easy way to do this would actually be to create a square, hold shift, right click that, stroke it, 10 pixels is good. And what I want you to do is Control T, which selects it, then hold shift and rotate it so that way it's like a diamond now, okay? So that is step one. Step one. Create your little thing there, okay? Then you're going to draw a line straight through it. And you can hold shift to draw straight lines. I'm not a robot and draw perfectly straight lines like that. You just hold shift and it'll automatically make a straight line. And now what I want you to do is basically from these 2 points, from this point and this point, all you got to do is you just draw some lines like this, right? And they don't have to be perfect. Oh, they should be a little bit better than that. But just draw them straight across like that. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a very kind of fast, quick and dirty perspective grid for you. Okay? And then you're going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. Just draw straight from there. I'm just like setting down my hand on top of the tablet and then just kind of like pushing and pulling the lines out of it. And again, they don't need to be perfect. Okay? And then check this out. Now that you've got that grid, now you're going to size it. You're going to size it up properly. Okay? So now depending on how big you make it and how low it is, that's going to determine your horizon line, right? This is your horizon line. So if you want your character to appear big, right, you want the horizon line to be down here and you're looking up at him. Or you can also be looking down a little bit more on your character by doing this, and the horizon line is up here. You can even keep the horizon line out of the picture, and it's like you're looking completely down at them. But in general, basically the way that I set it up for Zombie King was somewhere along that line. Okay? Now watch, when I drop Zombie King on top of it, he should be fairly in the right place. It's a little bit more like that. Okay? See? Check that out. See how he lines up with everything? See how everything just lines up? The bottom of this coat tail ends up with the bottom of that coat. Bottom of this shoulder, or the shoulder here lines up with that shoulder. This elbow should be dropped a little bit further. But that is how I go about making grids. Really, really quick 3D grids. And it's super, super easy. Super easy when you do it that way. All right. Because I always used to ask myself, I was like, how do people draw their characters and they make it look like, they're standing on the floor here and then you're looking up at them. And I was like, oh, well, maybe they just like draw some lines like this. They just draw lines through it and they just kind of fake the perspective, which is totally possible too. You can also do things like that and fake it. This is a little bit more like drawing the grid is actually a little bit more, I don't want to say realistic, mathematically proper, technically proper. So that really helps me out a lot. So I like to do that stuff. And again, it doesn't take much time. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna raise this. I'm gonna raise this arm. I'm gonna raise it up because it's probably gonna come down to right there. And you'll notice I'm working with just values right now. Just working with values. And then we'll kind of do the thing where we drop the color behind it. Okay? So let's go ahead and continue with this. The other elbow over here, this is going to be down a little bit. More like that, as opposed to where it was before. That's looking pretty dang good. I'm going to thicken this little white fur lining here around his neck. Like that. Precise. Thank you, Beast Point. That was the word I was looking for. But yeah, I wish I would have explained how to draw a grid like that in the actual perspective, the tutorial. So I made it a lot more complicated than... It took me a lot longer to explain it. And I guess I didn't realize how simple it was until I was really drawing this picture here. I was like, oh, it's actually really easy. You just create a square, turn it into a diamond, draw some lines, and then you resize it. And there's your grid. And then, yeah, you can basically do it a bunch of different ways. But, okay, so I need to pull up, once again, our little reference over here. Because I'm going to draw his face. We're going to do some details on his face. I'm not doing anything too crazy. But I really like this guy. I like simplistic things like this. I'm like, what is the character inside of this? I think there's just genius, and like so much character can be captured in a simple drawing. And I guess that's like what I'm studying. That's really what I'm interested in. It's like, what makes a character so awesome, and yet there's not a lot of detail to it. It's just super simple, and it just gets the point across. Bang for your buck. Most bang for your buck. Okay, so that looks good. I also like thinking in terms of 3D, like thinking 3D, like how does this crown actually fit around his head? What's the ellipse that's happening within here? You know, just drawing things like that is what's very challenging. Alright. I like how he's got like this round face. It reminds me of like a video game on the old NES. It reminds me of a character, but I can't remember what it was. I think it's maybe something from Bubble Bobble. I don't know if you guys remember that. I think the last boss in Bubble Bobble. So this guy kind of reminds me of. And I loved that game. I loved Bubble Bobble. Favorite thing ever. Oh yeah, kind of like a Ninja Turtle too. Yeah, they kind of have this. They have that facial shape. Yeah, I do like that. Worms. Worms is a great example of simplistic character designs with a ton. They're just so iconic and super simple, really cute, and I freaking love worms. I love worms. Yeah. Aha! Let's give him a fang. Fangs always help make people look more evil. Mas evil. Evil. Ah, that's good. That's very good. I'm gonna go ahead and kick his cheek out just a little bit more. Looks good there. I like how he has like these eyes, these kind of narrow, small eyes. Translates to my style pretty easily. It's kind of got like these angular eyes and then the little slit pupils. Very cool. Much like something you would find in Emma-san. Something I can relate to. Okay. Line sculpting at its finest. That's all we're doing. Line sculpting. And yeah, let's go ahead and take care of the crown. We'll just refine a little bit of his lines. And these are pretty good. I just want to refine kind of up here. Then we'll drop some color on them fairly quickly. I'm going for about 15 minutes. I think I'll go for another 10. See what we can get done. with this, and then we'll call it good. Also, ready your questions, because I will ask. We're going to launch the Q&A trebuchet, so ready your questions. And I was thinking lately that sometimes I miss questions at the end of the show, so if I do miss your question, I'll do my best to write it down, unless it's like covered in like a mountain of other messages, and by some crazy chance I miss it. I do apologize, but I think it'd be really nice if we jump straight into question catapults, and I have some questions ready to go. So, do not be afraid to ask anything. Anything! Okay, one thing that I want to do to like add some detail to this crown is one of these. Add a little bit of embossment, metallic embossment. Yeah, there we go. Oh, is that right? There we go. Cool! Cool. Alright, now he's got this jewel here. This purple jewel. Now let's see. It should end up over here. So it should look a little bit like that. Kind of like that. I'm going to kick up the edges on it a little bit. Drawing diamonds in perspective is a little bit of a pain in the butt. Because again, you're thinking about, okay, here's the edge. Basically, I'm drawing this design, but now I'm laying it across a crown and then putting it into perspective. So a really easy way for me to remember, where the edge of this diamond is, okay, so look, our perspective lines will help us out. See this line going right through here, and this line right through here. So it's kind of like right through there. So the edge of the diamond, one edge is right there, the other one should be right there. Okay? And that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's pretty much the way it's looking, as it is, so I like that. Roll with that. Looks pretty good. Now he's also got these other little jewels on the side that I don't want to miss. Because again, they're really cool. And I really feel like painting things like geometric things and things in perspective is so much easier when you do the line sculpting technique. Which is why I highly recommend that you guys do it. It's so much easier. You just pull shapes out. Pull shapes out instead of worrying about making the perfect line. Oh, speaking of perfect line, we got this line going right through them. Forgot to delete that. Whoops. We're good. We're good. We're good. All right. Now, let's continue here. Let's finish up these lines, and let's go ahead and mask him. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up his edges right now, and then we're going to mask him and color him. So to do that, sorry peasant, you're going to go bye-bye for right now. I'll finish you later. I'll deal with you later. Okay, so check this out, guys. Before I mask a character, this is literally how simple it is. I just pull out my ink brush, set it as my eraser, and then I go through here and I start refining these edges. And what I really like about this brush is, again, you don't have to press hard to get the full erasure, the full opacity. I was saying that word wrong. Full opacity. They should call it opacity. Opacity is lame. Opacity sounds way cooler. So anyway, yeah, you don't have to press hard. Saves your wrist. Saves your life. Saves your life. Do not forget. So I'm just going through and I'm making sure that his edges are clean. Okay? Clean edges is what we're going for here. It's going to help us out when we go in and do our quick character mask. Whoops. Go ahead and add a little bit more in there. Take care of these edges over here. Add a little bit more thickness up here because we want to make sure the weighting of our lines is consistent throughout as well. Okay, that's good. 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 Opacity. Alright. It's looking pretty good. Let's just refine these last little shapes, and then we'll move into our lovely color. Cool. I like that a lot. So you can see now our edges are all cleaned up. All cleaned up, ready to go. So the way that I mask a character is I simply make a layer behind him, call it char mask, or character mask, whatever floats your boat. I select everything around him. Because we have clean edges, we don't have any of that weird like gray area. It's like either the line's there or the line's not. Then you hit Shift-Control-I to implode the selection. I usually select like a light gray or something like that. You go ahead and fill that. And there you have your character silhouette, all done. No manual masking required. None of this manual masking crap. It takes forever. I only do it when I'm doing like a really painterly thing where I can't have, you know, really precise, clean edges. But that is a rarity. That is a very rare time. Okay, what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and add our masks. So let's go ahead and start with red. And what I really like to do is, again, I like to paint the darker version of whatever color we're going to do. So if his coat is red, I'll take like a dark red, and I'll add some purple to it. So we're going to get something a little bit more like this. Whoa. A little bit more like, no. The opacity was messed up. I also need him to be a little bit darker. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and color this in dark. And the reason why I like coloring with a dark color, or a darker version of whatever we're going to be coloring with, is because I like to paint light. Okay, so now check this out. Here's where that character mask comes in handy. See how I'm going outside of the lines on all this part right here? Well, a little known secret is that you can simply go between the layer that you're creating and your character mask. Let me make sure you can actually see that. You can go between this layer right here, the red, and your character mask. If you hold Alt and click between those, it creates a clipping mask, and then you can no longer go outside of the lines with any of your colors, and I really like that. Then I just create layers in between those two. The sandwich of power, I like to call it. You just create things in there, and then they automatically become clipping masks. So check this out. So we'll go ahead and color his skin. Again, he's green, so we're going to go a little bit darker green and add some blue to it. Like this. Okay? And check it out. Look, we can no longer go outside of the lines. Super easy. Super fun. He's looking very Christmassy with all this red and green. Very Christmassy. Okay, white's up next. And again, dark white. What is dark white? Gray? I guess it would be. Let's go ahead and darken this character mask so I can actually see where the white is going. Alright. Very simple, very simple. Quick and dirty. You know what we like. White over there. And then he's got brown pants. Pants. Los pantalones. Let's go ahead and do that. Looks good. And ladies and gentlemen, as we finish this up, as we add some quick gradients, I'm going to go ahead and open up the, I almost said question catapults, but it is now called the Q&A Trebuchet! Launching cars, launching questions over the castle walls. Please cast any questions that you have. Do not be afraid if I am not able to get to your question today, because I will keep note and I will answer them later. I don't understand why people call me. Like, nobody calls me all day, and then as soon as I start the show, it's like everybody's calling me. Oh, man. All right, question coming in from Quasi-Site. Great question coming in. He's asking, how did you like your time at Riot? I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it for the time that I spent there. But when I took off, I was ready. I was just ready to go. I was ready to go, and I was ready to make my own thing. So that was why I ended up quitting. It wasn't because the job was necessarily bad or unfitting. It was just because there was something inside of me that needed to be expressed that I just did not have the freedom to express at the time, and I needed to make a comic. So that was why I did that. That is how, or why I did that. Why and how I did that. All right, we got gold coming up here. Take a couple more questions, and then we're going to end. Or, well, I don't want to end before we're done. I don't want to end before we draw the gold. Not before the gold. Let's put it behind the pants. That'll save time. Boom, baby. That looks crappy. There we go. Much better. Much better. See how easy that is? I love the character mask. I love how easy it makes everything. Painting everything. Last thing, let's do the gems. Those are pink. I usually don't work this fast. It feels kind of weird to like work this crazily fast. I don't know, it might not be that crazy for you guys. You guys, crazy artists out there. But it's crazy for me. Alright, so now that everything is masked except for his eyes and teeth, we need to also do those really quick. Now that everything's masked, we can go ahead and move into painting the light. And the way that I like to do this is simply grab your chalk brush of choice, and we're going to go ahead and lock all of these layers, lock all the layers that we just made. And then we're going to work our way down the list, and we're going to go ahead and shade it in, shade it in. And a really good thing to understand or just have in mind before you get started on this is, where's your light coming from? I know that's super rudimentary, but sometimes I forget it. People forget it. It's worth noting. Next question coming in. Would you consider neen a noun, adjective, or a verb? Rolisha is asking. Oh, neen is whatever you want it to be. Neen. I would say neen is a verb. Neen is a verb. Unless you say a neener. Unless you're raising your neener. Then in that case it is a noun. Alright, so anyway, okay, so let's paint this light. Now what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, he's wearing a red coat. So we are going to now paint red. And check out how cool this is. You just like drop it in there and it starts adding so much life, awesomeness to your character. See? You can do a little bit of like reflected light in there. Boom! See? Super easy. Super legit. Next, let's do the white. And oh yeah, the way that I'm setting this up is the light is coming from up top, so it looks like a big, like the lights of heaven, the angels of heaven are shining down upon him. He is standing in all his majesty. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's add a little bit of yellow light to that. I'll make it look nice. Make it look really nice. A little bit of reflected light in there. And that's good. Next, pants. Pants don't have a lot of direct light on them, so we can go ahead and just kind of do a little bit of reflected light. Maybe not. Oh! Maybe more like that. Yeah, nothing crazy. Next up is what is this? This is literally a layer with nothing on it. Okay, blue. Blue jewels. Blue jewels. Last question. Do your brushes work on Photoshop CS2? They should, yeah, because I'm using CS3, and that's not too big of a change to go from CS3 to CS2. So I would reckon they do. Definitely give it a shot. Okay, pink jewel. There we go. Gold. Gonna kick it up like that. Gold, I really like to almost do like a specular type thing. I like to do it more like that as opposed to shading it like super, you know, a little bit more like a matte surface like his coat. I like to go through and add some, almost think of it as like a banding effect. So I'll do one of these, I'll like put a band through it. I'll kind of do one of those. But since the light is shining down on it, we might get something a little bit more like this. It'll probably be more like this. And then we'll have an extra band going through it. So it'll be more like that. Yeah! Aha! Blah! Brilliant. That's how you create metal. Or cheat it. That's how you cheat metal. Alright, and I always like to do hue shifts. I talk to you guys all the time about hue shifting, but it is very important. Okay, so let's go ahead and put some light up here, some light on the fingers. And I also want to give a little bit of pigment to his cheeks, but I wonder how I add red. How do I add red to green? Because usually I like to add a little bit of like pigment to the cheeks, but I don't know what that's going to look like. That's way too much. That's pretty good. Sometimes I just drop a little bit of red in. Then I eyedrop it. I'm like, okay, what color would that have been? Okay, so look at that. It's actually like a really muted orange. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, and I forgot his eyes. There we go. And then the last thing that I would do to finish coloring him is I would just lock his lines right here. See, that's what he looks like without his lines. Pretty cool, huh? There's a lot of like rich colors in there. We want to bring a little bit more of that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start just painting the lines. Start painting the lines on the edges, you know, where, you know, a lot of color is happening. See, especially on this white, you know, you paint it like a dark gray, and then it automatically looks a little bit more fluffy. Looks nice. Looks very nice. Same thing here. I'm going to paint a little bit of red into his lines on his coat. This makes everything look a little bit more, I don't know, soft. I don't know what the word is for it. This makes everything look nice. Look very nice. Denny FRK is asking, if there were an object popping from that perspective grid line, would it require a new grid? Yes. In terms of like, if you're drawing a car with its own perspective thing going on, yes, you're going to want to create a new grid for that. This is just for what I did today with this perspective grid. This is just for simple things, right? Like if you want to draw your character, you want to draw an object in a 3D space, this is a really good way for you to just very quickly set it up and be like, okay, this shoulder is lining up with that one, you know, this part of the, you know, this boot is lining up with that one, and it makes it really, really easy to just get a precise look. So, but yeah, cars and just like objects on different planes will all require their own perspective grid, and that's a whole nother monster that even I'm not brave enough to tackle in a tutorial quite yet, but you may be able to take a look at that at a future date. Alright, I'm liking this a lot. Yeah, this looks great. Oh, whoops, that didn't look good. Make that a little bit darker there. Alrighty, people, so as I finish up, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has joined us today. Join me and the Zombie King in our kingdom. Man, that looks cool. I like that guy a lot. Yes, thank you for joining me live on Twitch as usual. People on YouTube, thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't. I am going to load up the epic outro music so inconspicuously. And in the meantime, I'm going to tell you guys that there are some amazing updates, some amazing news that is going to be coming out very, very soon. That has to do with Emma, the comic, how you guys can be a greater part of it and help me continue making it. But can't give away too much quite yet. That is a surprise for a later date. So you guys take care. You have a great one. great Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow for Thoughtful Thursday. Until then, you guys take care.